The by phrase, the phrase that comes into existence as a process of passivization when the subject is moved from its usual initial position to the end of the sentence and is joined by a preposition by. Consider a certain sentence, especially the last sentence of the first text. Only recently was the region divided into the two independent countries of India and Pakistan. If we look at this, this is a passive sentence, right? But here is no by phrase that we can find. So only recently is the fronted adverb phrase originating in VP, right? The fronting has given rise to SAI. Compare the word order of the 10 with 11. The region was divided into two independent countries only recently. So this was the actual sentence. So it's a passive sentence and it has no by phrase. So if we try to restore 11 to the active, at first sight this seems impossible because there is no by phrase in the sentence. We get something like which is ungrammatical. For example, we have a gap, divided the region into the two independent countries only recently. We don't have any word to fill in this gap of before divided. For example, it could have been the British divided, something like this. But without that, this is an incorrect sentence. The agent of the action denoted by the verb divide is not explicitly mentioned, although in this case we know that the understood agent is probably something the British government, etc. Right? Sentence 1 requires an explicit subject. The PS rules, according to the PS rule, sentence consists of a noun phrase and a verb phrase. It will be ungrammatical if we do not have a noun phrase, if one does not know precisely who is the agent of the activity is, or if it is irrelevant or unnecessary to specify who performed the activity. One may choose to use a passive sentence, since in passive the agent by phrase is optional. Passivization allows us to suppress the agent. Very often the effect of passivization is that the text becomes more impersonal and formal. That's very important, because when we remove the when we make a sentence passive, it gives an impersonal effect and a formal effect, and especially when the by phrase is deleted, it gives more impersonal effect and more formal effect. So agentless passives are especially characteristics of the style of official document, textbooks, scientific articles, instructions, rules. When the agent is not important, right? Rather, the phenomenon is more important. So, example, you are hereby given leave to enter the United Kingdom for 6 months. So, here to bring the agent is not necessary, right? It's understood that it's the government. Bicycle must not be left in front of the building. So obviously it's some authority, right? Maybe the owner of the building, maybe the government requires it, anything, and that is understood. Smoking in this room is prohibited. Obviously the master of the room has written it, some authority has written it. Contributions are welcomed from linguists in all countries and not merely from members of the Linguistic Association of Great Britain. So if you look at this on all these sentences, in passive sentences, there is no by phrase. And when we learn grammar, we must note this very fact that not every passive sentence is accompanied by a by phrase, though we know that they in the structure of the passive structure sentence, there is an active sentence, and in active sentence there is a subject phrase, right? But as it's an official document, as it may be in the textbook, and there is no need to stress the subject through by phrase.